A mother
Yeah,
praying on the floor.
yeah.
A question knocking at the door. No robe, no stage, no sacred script. Still, heaven spoke beyond the pulpit. Not just in echoes of a choir, not just in pages set on fire, but something louder, something real. In every wound we try to heal, there are voices beyond the pulpit. In the silence, in the noise, in the doubt we try to bury, in the truth we can't avoid. I can find the holy buildings, not contained in just one way. There are voices beyond the pulpit, calling us to live, not just to pray. A protest sign, a whisper plea, a tear that falls when none can see, a stranger showing unseen grace. God still moves in every place. Not every sermon wears a crown. Sometimes it's just sitting down, listening where we once dismissed, finding truth in what we missed. Not just in answers carved in stone, not just in feeling less alone, but in the tension, in the fight, where wrong meets courage, wrong meets right. There are voices beyond the pulpit, in the silence, in the noise, in the doubt we try to bury, in the truth we can't avoid. Not confined to holy buildings, not contained in just one way. There are voices beyond the pulpit, calling us to live, not just to pray. What if the sacred isn't distant? What if it's closer than we think? In every question we resist, in every edge we're on the brink of something deeper than tradition, of something wider than belief, a voice that speaks through every soul in joy, in justice, in our grief. There are voices beyond the pulpit, in the broken, in the brave, in the ones who stand for mercy, in the ones who choose to stay. I can find the holy buildings, not contained in just one way. There are voices beyond the pulpit, and they're calling us today.
Yes,
So listen
you're
close,
welcome.
not
Yeah,
just
I'm
above,
trying to
but all around is where speaks love. They told me truth live high above, in stained glass light and scripted love. But I heard whispers in the street, and broken
okay.
hearts
I
and
think I'm live
tired
on
feet.
YouTube.
A mother praying on the floor,
Okay.
a question knocking at the door. No robe, no stage, no sacred script. Still, heaven spoke beyond the
So,
pulpit.
yeah, I'm live too.
Not just in echoes of a choir, not just in pages set on fire, but something louder, something real. In every wound we try to heal, there are voices beyond the pulpit, in the silence, in the noise, in the doubt we try to bury, in the truth we can't avoid. I can find the holy buildings, not contained in just one way. There are voices beyond the pulpit, calling us to live,
All right, I think I'm live
just to
on.
pray.
I'm also live on TikTok.
A protest sign, a
Okay.
whisper plea, a tear that falls when
I'm
none
on
can see,
live.
a stranger showing unseen grace. God still moves in every place. Not every sermon wears a crown. Sometimes it's just sitting down, listening where we once dismissed, finding truth in what we missed. Not just in answers carved in stone, not just in feeling less alone, but in the tension. pray. What if the sacred isn't distant? What if it's closer than we think? In every question we resist, in every edge we're on the brink of something deeper than tradition, of something wider than belief, a voice that speaks through every soul in joy and justice in our grief. Let our voices be on the pulpit, in the broken, in the brave, in the ones who stand for mercy, in the ones who choose to stay. Not confined to holy buildings, not contained in just one way. There are voices beyond the pulpit, and they're calling us today. So listen close.
All right.
Not just above,
Yeah, I'm on live on
all around is where
I mean
speaks love.
on Instagram there. But
Yeah, I think we got a couple of people with us on TikTok. Yeah.
They told me truth live high above.
Were you able to also get in on
Stained
TikTok?
glass light and scripted
yeah, I'm getting there right now.
All right, because if you are there, then definitely we can have the side of the music.
broken hearts and tired feet.
Oh yeah.
A mother praying on the floor, a question knocking at the door. No robe, no stage, no sacred script. Still, heaven spoke beyond the pulpit. Not just in echoes of a choir, not just in pages set on fire, but something louder, something real. In every wound we try to heal, there are voices beyond the pulpit, in the silence, in the noise, in the doubt we try to bury.
So
In the
you wanna check me on so
find a holy
you ready to see that?
not contained in just one way. There are voices beyond the pulpit calling us to live, not
Do you,
just to pray.
by any chance, have like an airport or something on?
Protest sign, a whisper plea, a tear that falls when none can see, a stranger showing unseen grace. God
Trying
still
to
moves in every place. Not every sermon wears a
everyone
crown.
can invite me in.
Sometimes
Yeah,
it's just sitting down, listening where we once dismissed,
on your
finding
TikTok.
truth in what we miss.
Provide you what?
Not just in answers carving
Yeah, I'm
stone,
on TikTok. Right?
not just a feeling
I
left
just logged in
alone,
right now, but I don't know if
but in the
I'm
tension
there
of
already.
the fight, where
Okay.
all needs courage.
Yeah, you're there.
There are voices beyond the pulpit, in the silence,
Yeah, you're there.
in the doubt we try to bury, in the truth we can't
You're there.
avoid. Not confined to holy buildings, not contained in just one way. There are voices beyond the pulpit, calling us to live, not just to pray. What if the sacred isn't distant? What if it's closer than we think? In every question we resist, in every edge we're on the brink of something deeper than tradition, of something wider than belief, a voice that speaks through every soul in joy and justice in our grief. There are voices beyond the pulpit, in the broken, in the brave, in the ones who stand for mercy, in the ones who choose to stay. Not confined to holy buildings, not contained in just one way. There are voices beyond the pulpit, and they're calling us today. So listen close, not just above, but all around is where speaks love.
All right. Okay, we just about starting right now. We want to welcome every one of you coming tonight, this time, this moment. is what we call voice on the beyond the pulpit. Yeah, you're welcome. This moment, I believe you are here. As you join us, you can benefit from one thing or the other that we do right here. All right.
No robe, no stage, no sacred script.
Here on the pulpit,
Heaven spoke beyond.
you'll be able to share your ideas, share your opinions. Oh yeah, God bless you.
Not just in pages set on fire, but something louder, something real. In every wound we try to heal, there are voices beyond the pulpit. In the silence, in the noise, in the doubt we try to bury, in the truth we can't avoid. I can find your holy buildings, not contained in just one way. There are voices beyond the pulpit, calling us to live, not just to pray. A protest sign, a whisper plea, a tear that falls when none can see, a stranger showing unseen grace. God still moves in every place. Not every sermon wears a crown. Sometimes it's just sitting down.
You're welcome again to Voice on the Pulpit. You know, this is a platform where we share ideas. We share ideas, and we want to. This is our fourth time we're gonna be streaming live on this podcast, and you're welcome in Jesus' name. Right now, let me yield to my host for this program, Pastor Yomi.
Hi, everybody. You're welcome to Beyond the Pulpit. This is the Voices Beyond the Pulpit, and I want every one of us to really understand that this is not just another sermon that you are here to listen to. It is not even another performance that you are here to listen to. This is where we have honest conversations. This is where you can join us to talk about things that are happening all around you in the church, ministry leadership, some of the struggles and hustles that ministry leaders we face severally, and some of the backstories that most of us, especially pastors, don't talk about when we are on the pulpit right there. Don't forget that the pulpit is high up there, but the man up there also has a struggle, also has a story to tell. So what we are here to do is to actually step, outside the formalities of the pulpit, outside the formalities of the church or the lectures that we have, and we're just about to get really real, unfiltered realities of ministry, some of the pressures that we face, some of the hidden struggles that we face, some of the questions burning through your mind, some of the many leaders, some of the burdens that we carry separately. So we are just here to share some of the stories, and because this is the truth behind every strong voice of there on the pulpit, there is a human being, and we are all human. Um, I don't need to start bubbling with you with some of the things that goes on the social media, especially the days and the years of the text that we have right now. And some of those things, you realize that once the Christian faith filters, a kind of news, it goes viral. Once a man of God or a servant of God, comes up, there's a news about them, especially in the negativity. Some of those things they just go viral like that. So we just keep together to wonder: our pastors, our leaders, our bishops, our ministry spearheads, are the angels? And the honest answer is no. And so that is why we said, okay, there may be something beyond the pulpit. There may be something beyond the profession that a whole lot of us that we see out there. And so that is why we are coming together for this podcast. So today Now, very first episode is the debut of this program, where we're going to be talking about the real cost of ministry as pastors. There is a weight of the ministry, what life and what leaders, what we don't say on the pulpit, and these are just things that happens to us. So I just want us to have this conversation. So if you're a pastor, you are a leader, you are a worker in ministry, or even someone trying to understand, the people who lead you or the people that they lead. So this is the right conversation for you. And so I will tell you that you're welcome once again. So let's go beyond the pulpit. Let's go beyond the three-piece suit. For the most part, most of you who know me, you see me on Sundays or on Bible study days when I have, dressed down. But there is so much more to Yomi than what you see. There's so much more to Pastor Femi than what you see. So this platform is to just talk about some of those things. And let me let you know that we are not here to start bashing people, start talking down on churches or ministries or whatever leadership that we have all around. We are just trying to make impact the way forward. Yeah, we highlight the problems. We're going to be talking about the problems, the issues, some of the strains, but preferring solutions and the way forward. It's very, very imminent here. So I would say again from my hand that welcome to Voices Beyond the Pulpit. God bless you. Thank you all for joining us. Everyone joining us on TikTok, on YouTube. We see you all. Thank you so much. We got a couple of people on YouTube right now. On TikTok, God bless you. On Facebook, Instagram, God bless you. Thank you for coming together. Again, this is not going to be a sermon again. So if you have your questions, you can just ask your questions, and we can just pick it from there. Pastor Femi, would you want to
Yeah.
just kick out?
th- thank you, sir. Same. If you have a question, don't forget. I mean, don't. You can drop your question on YouTube comment section. If you have if you need more information on that one, you can see uh, on the YouTube uh, information that there is a comment on the comment section. If you're on TikTok, same thing. Send your question in so we can answer those questions. No question is too small or too big to we'll all look into that and see how we can uh, share ideas and brainstorm on those things. What are the things that you feel kind of bothering your heart regarding what the movement in the church these days, around the world these days? It could be related to your spiritual life as a person. So, and if you want to participate, yes, you can also send us a request. We will send you the link for you to come up to come on and you can request from either Pastor Yomi. Just let us know on the comment section. We will send you the link so that you can come on board to come and participate on this podcast. And I really want to um, share. I mean, share with you, or want to share with us as well, and as we gain ideas together. All right, wherever you are watching from, I welcome you one more time. You are welcome to Voice Beyond the Pulpit. This is where we.
Oh, Pastor Femi. Okay. There's something I quickly want to say here. I'm going to be throwing that question to you right as we kick off, and that is the premonitions, the presumptions, some of the assumptions that people have about the ministry that is not actually true. I don't know. There are several. There are scores of them. When people talk about ministry, when people talk about um, church, when they talk about ministry in general, there are these assumptions. So maybe we should just use that as an icebreaker right now. That for you, what are some of the assumptions that you could pick, from what people think about the ministry, but those things are not actually true?
Do you know that people generally believe ministry is easy, and everybody want to oh, God has called me, and I always like to ask people, when you say God called you, where in which area? God called everyone, but the area in which we are called into might be different. Not necessarily has to be you have to be a pastor of a church. You have to be in a kind of uh, um, uh, on Sunday, every Sunday ministering, doing one thing or the other. So when people say God called me, the first thing that comes into mind is just like, oh, I must be a pastor. You don't have to be a pastor to be for you to be called. You are called into different areas, and your own can be just only giving. It could be your own can be healing. Encouraging people. In the fivefold ministry, we know about being a teacher, being a prophet, being all those kind of things. But apart from even fivefold, there are still other ministries too that people can actually you can actually fulfill your call. Not not until when you get to the church or when you mount the pulpit. The pulpit is wherever you find yourself. That's one thing I know. Your pulpit is anywhere you go. You can erect your pulpit right there. If your own is to encourage people that are encouragers that are counselors whereby naturally when they begin to talk to people, you will feel the comfort, you will feel that resolution of the problem that you carry, because God has given them that power to be able to share the word. I mean, to speak the right word that will meet your need at that moment. They might not hold the title of a pastor. They might not hold the title of a bishop. They might not hold the title of an apostle. They might not hold any religious title. But when they say
Right.
that word, it kind of calms your nerves down and change your life. So many people don't. I mean, people should not run away with the word, because God is calling me, and that is what I have to do right now. I must open a church.
Right. It's becoming the word whereby everybody also believes that God has called them into frontline ministry. I remember those days when we were in the missions college. One of the teachers over there will always say, "Hey, are you sure God has called you into this service?" Because practically, when you're in the missions college, you are being trained into frontline ministry. So, Pastor Femi, I want to believe that I heard you right when you were talking about some other ministries that God would use people in some other areas of the kingdom service, that God could use people aside even their much talked about fivefold ministry. That's the ministry of the apostles, of the evangelists, of the teachers, pastors, and the prophets. But unfortunately, a whole lot of people, even when God is calling them into some other parts of the ministries that are not really the front line, they're not on the spotlight, people don't readily believe that God has called them into other ministries or things that God would have them do aside the regular spotlight ministry. And that's why you see people that God has called into the help ministry. They want to be in a prophetic, they want to be in the teaching ministry or the apostolic ministry. And other thing that I see a whole lot of people do these days is pushing into these two ministries, the prophetic and the apostolic ministry. Everywhere, not just in Africa, not just in America, everyone wants to brandish the name apostle. And you would wonder someone that just answered the call or just had the road to Damascus experience in just a year or 2 or 3 or maximum of 5 years, they're already brandishing the name apostle. And sometimes I wonder who taught them, who brought them that idea that has given them an illusion of what ministry is all about. Because there is the street called street, there is the place of whoever will eventually be an apostle of the Christ, must have a level of tutelage, a level of tutoring, like you know, and must have a level of experience, and must have had, I mean, records, must have had stories and history, contained in events in their lives. So, and that's why the prophetic ministry is selling in the marketplace these days, because, of course, the Bible talks about at the end of the word that people will get teachers for themselves. There are several denominations in the Christian faith that almost everyone is a prophet. Almost everyone is a prophet. Almost everyone has a defined call to give a message. Especially a prophetic message to the world. But like you rightly said, Pastor Femi, God has called every believer, and the first call that God has called every believer is the call to Himself. When Jesus came in His earthly ministry, one of the foremost things He did was to first call the disciples to Himself, and they had to be with Him for a couple of years before He sends them out, as apostles, as missionaries in the world. But these days in ministry, one of the assumptions is that once God calls you, He has called you to start a church. And you see people who never really had a relationship with God. They've not really been with Him. The scripture says they called them so that they might be with Him. They might learn of Him. They might understand the ways of the kingdom before they are sent out. People really want to stay under tutoring, under mentorship these days. And the next thing you see is everyone, especially these days of the technology and all of that, everyone wants to get on the social media. Everyone wants to talk about things, everyone wants to pray online. Everyone wants to prophesy online and things like that. Ministry, I would say, is it's you have to grow it. You don't have to you cannot meet it growing. It is developed, it is grown. It is not something that you just meet already grown. And I think that is another area that people are really getting it wrong these days. I just pray that the Lord will help us, and the Lord will grant us better understanding. Ministry is not easy for the legacies that we see today, for the movement, the revivers that we see today. For the most part, people's blood dropped for it. Jesus Christ's blood also dropped for it. The much celebrated preachers in the world today, they have history contained in events and things that had happened in their lives. So it takes patience. So those assumptions that you have to start ministry, like I tell people, even in marriage, for the most part, any marriage that will survive the first 10 years, man, I'd really tried because they have a leverage, a good percentage that you're going to survive much more time. So for a ministry that we don't know where you're coming from, we don't even know when you met with Christ, your encounter story, we don't know your salvation story, then we just met you already grown. Then there's going to be a question mark on your ministry. These things are very important. Um, I don't know if Pastor Femi
You
really
you
wants
see,
to say some
you
other
see
thing.
my challenge with people these days is just that the there are a lot of things that we need to understand when it comes to ministry. You understand what I'm saying now? There are a lot
Yes,
of
sir.
things that we need to understand that, because I believe naturally, if you are called into a ministry, you need to understand people. You understand?
Yeah.
I always like to ask, how many people want to do ministry back in those days?
It wasn't fanciful. Those
Like,
days it wasn't fanciful. It wasn't beautiful.
yeah, it's always kind of thing that everybody kind of enjoyed to do. I remember back in those days, when people were, the people that are at the top right now that we see as our forefathers and doing well right now, but they pay the price. There are a lot of prices that they paid during that time, and we talked about ministry. There are people that when you say, oh, you give your life to Christ, right? I mean, then your family will even disown you. People will always
Of
call
course.
you names. People will always look at you and say, because something, something is wrong with you, because
Of
they
course.
took the ministry. I mean, they took that work and they ran with it, and they were doing it. Their mind was. set on the course that we are called to do this work. We are called to do this assignment. I don't care if I have money, if I don't have money, if I the passion that they had during that time was no, Jesus is coming tomorrow.
Right.
Because of that, they lead on that note whereby they continue to work. They don't care who sees me, who doesn't see me, who is with me, who is not with me. They just want to do that work. Now,
Right.
what has happened? What is the difference between then and now? Even though we see ministry just going, everywhere, 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 everywhere. Like something that Bible says, was talking about, these signs will follow them that believe. Yeah, I believe as a believer, there is something that's supposed to change in our life. There is something that is supposed to uh, uh, um, uh, move situations in our midst. When God called you, there is an assignment that God has called you into. Have you found that purpose, or you looking at other people's, you know, way they are doing their ministry and what they are doing in their ministry? And I think that one, this is what is in vogue right now. So I think I will buy that idea. So you are doing well in
Pastor,
ministry, and let me copy what you are doing too.
Pastor, something just came to my mind,
Yes.
and I want to ask you. I don't want to be like I'm asking you too many questions,
No,
but
no, no. Go ahead.
as these things pop up, I'll just like talk about it. And there's a fact that, and I'm going to answer that question too for myself. The question would be, if people are to see behind the scene of your life and ministry, what's that one thing they'll be shocked about? As a pastor, Pastor, I know you've been in ministry for years. You've been in ministry for years, and I thank God for your life. We celebrate you in your own right, and by the grace of God, you are a successful minister, pastor in one of the most viable churches in North America, in the city of Utah. And by the grace of God, my humble self, been in ministry for decades too. God has really helped us where we are. You in Utah, myself in Phoenix, Arizona. What would be that one thing that behind the scene, behind the glamour, the light, sound, check, behind the semantics and everything that we talk about, in the church, behind the public impressions. What is that one thing that when people get to know and understand about your life and your ministry, they'll be shocked?
Hmm. You will be loneliness sometimes.
That's gonna be the first on my list, anyways.
Loneliness sometimes. I wish I don't do this work.
Pastor,
How I wish. Sometimes you feel like
you are too
what
you are too honest. We want honest answers, but I think you are maybe if I'm gonna say that, I'm not gonna say it that way.
how I wish
It's okay.
I can tell you for free. Let me see. I have seen a lot. Growing up as a minister, before becoming a pastor, it's not the kind of thing that I want to do. Not that that does not make you to rebel against God.
Of course.
But when
Of
you are seeing
course.
something and they call something see finish, you don't want to be around that kind of thing at all.
So you were too familiar with the
We
altar.
were too familiar. We're born and raised in it. So
And I
what?
remember you grew in the redemption city.
Oh, and
You saw everything. You
I,
saw senior pastors, the
I,
big
I,
men that we celebrate.
I saw when I am. I mean, when the redemption city, we were the grand people that we went to open the place to as well. So it's not. It's
Whoa.
not that. It's not that. I saw a little part of. Um, the part of Baba Akindayomi almost the end era of Babakinde me and the new generation of Babakinde Adeboye. So I
Right.
knew all this kind of thing. My father, of blessed memory. I mean, it happened to be a pastor in this same old thing, and I remembered all those time, labor, and effort, and everything that
Hmm.
that moment never interest
Hmm.
none of my age, and older that were in the. I mean, to ever say that they were going to be in the ministry. Nothing
I
interests us to be in ministry because, as I said, ministry was never a fanciful thing back then. But as we progress, things begin to change because you need to reach out to certain people. Some revolution will always come every day, every time. Yeah, at
of
least
course.
after a decade, you must see there must be a revolution. I guess what I'm saying now. So
Right.
when it got to that, but before then, it has really kind of been a thing that me as a person don't want to be around. Now, not just only me, including all my siblings and everything and friends, my colleagues, age group, all of us. None of us want to be around ministry. Our
Really.
parents have paid the price. Let them pay the price. Let me do my own price.
Really.
But
Uh,
yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay,
Because
sir. Okay, sir.
what I'm saying is just that people just minister has been now it's not a new thing that people can just easily get into right now. But back then,
Pastor, what thing? For me, okay, for me, yeah, for me, would say that ministry things become so lonely for me, and I'll tell you. I mean, to be very honest with you, things become lonely. I'm an extroverted person, and for the most part, when I tell people that it becomes lonely for me, a whole lot of people think that that couldn't be. Maybe because of the face that I put up outside, maybe because of how friendly I could be with people. So people technically do not really understand that I have struggles sometimes, even with um, myself. I have struggles with loneliness. Then, because a whole lot of people also see us outside as successful, especially economically and financially. Did you know that a lot of times, now I'm talking about myself, and I know that this applies to a whole lot of ministers of the gospel. It happens to so many people, Christians, even those that are not, excuse me, in the frontline ministry. We struggle financially. That's one truth. We still struggle financially. We struggle to pay a whole lot of bills because the kingdom service comes with a whole lot of things and bills. You understand? Um, it's just one pivotal aspect of kingdom service. When I tell people that, hey, I'm not as rich as you think I am, a lot of people don't want to agree. They don't want to accept that. But that's just the truth. That's just one thing that I wish that people would just agree with, except for people who understand how the ministry works. So, that being said, one of the reasons why people would not readily believe, when we say we struggle financially, that ministers, they struggle financially, is that ministers, we don't hear our bills. We bottle up. When we are hurt, emotionally, spiritually, financially, we bottle up. We don't want people to readily see us as weak. We don't want the perception that, hey, we are throwing things out there. So as a matter of truth, we bottle. Well, a whole lot of ministers actually struggle financially, myself inclusive. And One another reason why people don't want to agree is because almost on monthly basis, I run and I do projects. I mean, projects that are very heavy. Sometimes we run outreaches that are in the millions. Sometimes we run outreaches that are in the thousands of dollars. So, it's going to be hard for a lay person, someone who doesn't really understand the pattern of the ministry, to agree with you when you say, "Oh, I am struggling financially." Someone will ask you, "But I thought you just, dole out some thousands of dollars a couple of days ago or just yesterday." People in the church, people in our circle, they have issues and they come around us. Um, Even when we don't have, the box to give them, we still try our best possible to be compassionate. We go the extra mile. You know, I've had stories. I can tell you. I mean, several stories of how much I wish some of their parishioners, some of the people that I pastored, would understand that, hey, guys, I don't really have this. But because when they ask, I just do the five loaves and two fishes miracle somewhere, you know, and they're sorry. So it's kind of hard. So it could be unbelievable sometimes. You can imagine that. I remember there was a time a member, ran to me and my wife and was asking for some food, and we provided this, woman the food. But did you know? I'm talking about stories of years ago in Africa. We were on the mission field, and we had a way. We didn't even show to the woman. Mind you, before this person came, my wife and I were discussing on how to put a meal on our table with our children. But when the woman came and she spoke to us and all of that, we had to go. We didn't even say, "Oh, we did not have or we don't have it." I just told my wife we have to do something. And it was like we went to get food on loan to make sure we settled the issue. I mean, the woman was having. She was so grateful. She was so appreciative, and she left with joy because we, as a family, as a family in the church, we already made up our mind that we are not. No one comes into our house hungry that will go out hungry. We saw that the woman and the woman left, and after the whole thing, we went back to our own hunger. Up to now, except if this woman is watching this broadcast, I'm telling you stories of well over decades ago. You know, except if she would now realize, oh, this was actually what happened the other day. But the truth is, these are some of the hidden things that if people actually discovered about us as pastors, that pastors we appear good, we appear clean, we appear, we're well dressed, the sermon must be preached, everything must go well on Sunday, the sound must come out, the lights must come on, the hair must come on, no matter what, even pastors, I know pastors and God's servants that go to the extent of getting loans and to making sure that the kingdom service, the kingdom work progresses. These are some of the struggles that happens to pastors, um, and this is another opportunity to let people know that there are several things that only if you know about the so much adored and so much um, extolled, servants of God, you'll be in shock. Pastor, I give you another one. When news come to their open about pastors, falling into some kind or diverse kind of sins, you know, why would people be surprised? Is it the fact that they see God in you, they see the man as God, or they just see men of God? Because The altar is exalted, but there's still a man
Mm.
before a man of God. And that is one thing that when people, another thing that when people actually discover about men of God, they will be shocked. Some of the atrocities, some of the things that happens, behind the scenes. If you really understand the life and the ministry of so many servants of God these days, a whole lot of us will not want to get close. You were saying something, Pastor, the other time about because you were born into a priest's family, you were raised there. Almost every day of your life, what you saw um, was pastors, was the church, was the lectern, was church music. You really did have anything outside of that. You saw it all. You were too familiar with the altar. You were too familiar with the things of God. So, as a matter of fact, you didn't want to be a pastor. There's another thing that happened to me a couple of years ago. There was a particular lady who was a pastor's kid. So we met. We were supposed to get married, and we met, and we were dating. He was a good one until the day I told her. I said I was ready to surrender unto God, and I'm just ready to follow what God had been telling me, which is to go into the ministry full time. I was working as a journalist at that time, and you know, she pretended I was okay with her, but afterwards, she told me point blank that she had already told herself that she would never get married to a pastor.
Hmm.
And I had told her why. She said because of how she grew as a pastor's kid.
Hmm.
Yeah, she told me on Christmas Day they had nothing to it. On Christmas Day, when they're preparing for Christmas, the mom would remove some of the window blinds as the curtain in the house because the mom was a seamstress. She would remove the curtains in the house and she would make that into Christmas clothes for them. You know, they were they were really, really, really poor. And because of that, ministry wasn't a fancy to this lady. So when I told her I was going into full time ministry, she dropped the ball. She bolted out on me. It was a really big heartbreak. Oh, come on. And she said she wasn't going to go again. But I thank God she left anyways, and that's a story for another day. So these are just some of the things that, some of the burdens that a whole lot of people don't understand about ministry. And but when they get to discover it, they're in good shock. You know, I know that some of our watchers and our listeners right now, they're really, really going with us and they're really, really enjoying the conversation. Another thing I want to pop up right now is some of the emotional and spiritual burnout that we have is part of the struggles that we have as ministry leaders. And you have some of this emotional and spiritual burnout, but you still have to show up. Pastor, have you had a time like that? You don't feel like going to church. You are the pastor. You are the lead pastor.
No,
I
no.
know. I know it still happens to you these
Let me
days.
just tell you what. So, whoa. See, that is one of those things. One of the areas that I just see in that when it comes to the pastor's kid. You know. There are many times when we are. I mean, that I don't want to go to church. But you have no
Mm,
choice because oh God, your parents are just one of those one that And I will tell you one scenario that happened one day. Then I was still young. I know I I had a little crush on a lady then, and I was just like well my father, because this is a Bible study day. This is a Bible study day. So, but I
was the lady in the church? Was the lady a member of the church?
well, a member of the church, but they don't come to church.
Okay.
They don't come to church like member comes when they want to come to church. You
Right.
understand? So I came from school. I mean, I was still in secondary school then, you know, and I realized, they asked me. So they asked me. Wait a minute. Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can the one that I sent to you earlier. Concerning joining. Is it your mean that this one? Which one is this one? I can't see myself on your TikTok anyway. So now what I see there, so I was asking. So I had to go to that lady's house. So I was just like, that episode was going on in the church, but I was just like, let me quickly go to. Oh,
You're there, Pastor. You're on my TikTok.
so I'll just look. Okay, I need to see go to that lady's house. I actually, by the time I was coming back, for my dad just met me on the way. He didn't travel with his car at that time. He went on the public transport, and I met him on the way. He just look at it. What he just did it, and just look at the time and say, "Where are you coming from? Are you not supposed to be in church by now? You look at the time. This time you're supposed to be in church. What are you still doing on the road by now?" I was like, then my word cannot even join together anymore. I just remember, I just look for one lie and say, "Oh, I went to collect the book from uh, boss's house." You understand what I'm saying? I said, "Well,
Right.
my dad said, okay, okay." I thought that would get him. It would just release me. Said, okay, because if I don't say that, I will die that night. I know I'm going to die that night. So, I said, okay, let's go to the place. Ah, to follow me to the place, where I've not been. So the moment I entered, I just took courage. I just went. So he was following. He was walking behind me. By the time we got to the front of that house, I doubled my work, and I said, "Boss, and then the lady came out. Didn't I just came to collect book from you?" He said, and I was weeping. You better tell if you don't want me to die right now. So she covered me up. I can never forget that day. Now, what that means, just most of the time, most of the time we just want to be kid like every other kid. You understand what I'm saying now? I don't want to go to
Right.
church. I don't feel like going to church. Why can't I be like every other children that they don't go? Nobody have to force them to come to church. But because of the nature of my parents' work, we have no choice. We will come to church
Right.
very early. We will be the last to leave. And I remember that we will not even eat. You understand? We will eat as
Right.
we go, maybe on our way home, or on after everybody have done their this thing. You can't cry, you can't do anything. Not talk about the ballet every time, the prostrating every time to greet everybody. If you don't greet them very well, they will give you a knock in your head, on your head like that. They'll say, "Oh, you don't know how to greet elders. You don't know how to do something." We can never be normal. That
And that brings me to the question, Pastor.
Yeah.
Would church leaders, would ministers of God be allowed to just be human looking at today's church culture? Because it's becoming so, I mean, it's becoming harder every day that even ministers now are to like default to pretense and just living like the church wants them to live. I give you my word. Um, I'll say it again. Church leaders, they are humans. They make mistakes. They commit errors. You know, okay. I've had to severally, those days, especially when I was much younger in ministry, I've had to really control myself, especially when it comes to the the relationship between myself as a pastor and some of the church members who are like opposite sex. And some of these guys, of course, they are intentional about coming around you as their pastor, especially when you're a young pastor. You know, people don't just want to hear that. They don't want to listen when it's like, oh, a pastor falls into some kind of temptation, or a pastor falls into some kind of fornication or adultery, as the case may be. How do we start engaging in this kind of communication? Because personally, I found myself in those circles sometimes. Those days, not really anymore now, because when I was a child, I behaved like a child, but now God is on the throne, so the maturation is there. But I'm saying that, can the church just allow pastors to be human sometimes, and not always perceive pastors as a semi-god, or like someone who is too celestial beyond um, what God has made us to be. Apostle Paul says there are things that I want to do that I don't do. And there are the things that I really don't want to do is what I do. Now, for context, that could mean several things. You know, sometimes pastors just want to be a little social. But when you bring that up, people will be like, no, you're a pastor. You're not supposed to do that. Sometimes I just want to dress down, for instance. I don't want to appear in my suit to church. But because of the expectation of the church, the orientation of the church, I can't just appear that way. No, I'm not talking about the extremes this time. I'm not talking about a pastor going to the club this time. I'm not talking about a pastor, mismanaging, unintentionally mismanaging, church funds and all of that. No, no, I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about the normal day life. The normal day life. Pastors want to go on vacation. Pastors want to have some time, some social um, gathering with friends. Pastor want to go do few things that a normal person would do.
Yeah. See, I will start with this. Um, Number one, you have to remember that before you are a child, before they put God behind that your man, you are still a man.
Of course.
So we are a man of God. It's called man of God. Man of God, not God of man. You
Yeah.
understand? So
Yeah.
what that means is, uh, number one, is in two ways. We kill ourselves,
Yeah.
and also the the congregation or the people that you shepherd over also kill you too as well.
Right.
Let me give you an example. I'm gonna digress a little bit. Do you know that when you hold an office that is a little bit of high demand, for example,
Right.
president want to be human,
Right.
but in some cases they will tell you. I remember when Obama became president, and before George Bush. That mean, after George Bush, he want to. They said there are some things that you cannot do. You cannot do. I get what I'm saying now. So
Yes, sir.
you still want to live your life. Their children cannot
Yes.
even go where they want to go easily. I remember one of
Right.
the interview that the wife was, granted not too long ago, and he said, "I want to go out and just shop on my own," and the security services were just all over them. Now, take it out away from this those for the president. That's the president office. Let's look at about the celebrities office of the celebrities as well.
Right.
Some of them cannot go out alone without being on camera.
Accompanied. Yeah.
Everybody's just gonna be on them. You get someone have to cover their face, and see what that means is that as you grow in life and you begin to prosper in certain area, the less you are being put. I mean, the more you're being put away from people or from
Mm,
that you can normally do before. Are you getting what I'm
that's
saying?
true. Yes,
So
sir.
if you're a celebrity and all of a sudden you know people know you now, more
Right.
responsibility is going to come to you. More
Right.
attention is going to be on you. More camera is going to be on you. If you sneeze,
Yes.
it will be online. If you go this way, it will be heard. If you get this one,
Yes.
it will be heard. So these are the challenges that fame or popularity brings to you, both good and bad. And
Mm,
the same light we will see when it comes to the church. And when it comes to spiritual thing now
right.
spiritual office hold a high esteem in
Right.
in some areas, but in most of those areas, you have to get to a place whereby you to yourself you have to be very very conscious about what you carry and how to manage yourself. And sometimes you still have to come down from that level and still be human being.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus demonstrated that same thing, and you will see him most. Sometimes it will go to the uh, 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 the people that everybody just look down on, like the sinners, and they say, "Oh, why is he eating with the sinners without washing hands? Why is he
Right.
working with people? Why is he doing all this kind of things? Because it's not just about you alone. You can still be human being and still be able to still minister to people. But the moment
Right.
some people now they call them when you hold the office of that pastor or the minister and God starts to use you, you know or there's a joke that somebody said, the moment you are able to heal one or two people, now
Yes.
I become a healer. I become,
Mm-hmm.
come and see me, come and do this, and people
Right.
begin to throw their garment on your feet. It becomes even more
Right.
worse when people start to call you daddy, mommy, my spiritual father, and they start to honor. Now, what I always say is good. Bible says we should give honor to whom honor is due, which is right.
Yes.
But at the same
Yes.
time, within me, I need to also know my limit, because number one, you have people that are older than you, people that are also
Right.
more knowledgeable than you, but it is favor, mercy that put you on that seat. Are you get what I'm saying now?
Right.
So what do you
Right.
need to do? Number one, you need to humble yourself, and
Hmm.
also in humbling yourself, remember you can still be a normal human being.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying now? That does
Yes.
not put me away from associating with people, with
That's true.
other pastors, other
Right.
members, other co-workers, other you understand what I'm saying now? I can still
Right,
talk
sir.
to them. I can still do things with them, but you just have to know the limit, because there must be limits to everything that you do. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
Not every gathering, not everything that can bring your anointing down, that you have to go to as well. So you just have to put everything in a kind of in a way that will limit. I mean, that there's a limit to what you can do. You understand what I'm saying now? Now,
Right.
when they rate you too high, more than where you are, the day you're gonna fall, that you're gonna they will slam you down in a big way.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying now?
Right.
Never look at yourself as I'm super being. You are never a super being. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. As much as we
And
carry.
that's it.
And when something happened to us, We must own up to that and not just use scripture or or another way to quote that and make people feel like, okay, I'm super big. I mean, that's something in me that is bigger.
Right.
Before I turn to you, do you know that I had that I have this illustration? I said, you know what? They said that nobody is above the law, right?
Right.
Is a true word, but some people believe that I'm above the law. I
Yep.
said, can you tell me that those that make cars, because you make cars and you design the car, you put the engine, you put everything together, you couple everything
Right.
together, right?
Right.
You know everything
Right.
so you know everything about that car. Does
Hmm.
that give you right to now put that car to drive motion and stand in front of that car and say,
Hmm.
I am the one that made you. You cannot run me over.
Hmm.
Are you getting what I'm saying now?
Hmm.
You can't do
Gotcha,
that.
sir.
That car will still run you over. That is to say, even though you made the car, you are not still what? Or you still don't have autonomous power over the car. As long as
Right.
the car is running, it can still kill you.
Hmm.
It doesn't recognize that you are the creator of the car or the maker of it.
Right.
But if you stand in front, if you stand in the wrong place, that will still hurt. The same thing when we get to a place where God placed us. Remember
Yes.
that this we are not supreme being. We
Of
can still
course.
calm down. The only thing you need to do is to pray to God to hold your hand, not from falling, because if
Right.
Elijah can be discouraged, if Moses can make mistake, anybody can make mistake.
Of
You understand
course.
what I'm saying now? So that is
Yes,
just
sir.
only thing. And two, people must not put the pastors or the leaders too high to a place whereby they become another god. There is a verse in the Bible that that when people begin to make Paul like the voice of like God. Bible says they tore their clothes. Was it Paul or Peter? They tore their clothes. That we are not God,
Hmm.
because they saw the miracle that God has used them for. So they were just like,
Right.
this must be God. These are idol. We must worship them. They tore their clothes. We are not God.
Hmm.
So people can easily throw some things, in the place of respect to you, but at the same time, don't you need to also be able to discern if this thing is going to kill you or is going to help you.
Talking about people's position where these things are concerned. I'm beginning to ask myself, ministers and church leaders, people on the pulpit, we there are a lot of pressures, man. Except if we're going to, want to sugarcoat things, there are a lot of pressures. So one of the things that always comes to my mind is, which I've had the opportunity to like discuss those things with several people, other minister friends, and all of that. The pressure that comes from serving God, from doing the work of the ministry. Where are the areas that these things are actually coming from? Is it the people we lead? Is it the culture? Um, is it ourselves? Because there's a possibility that we ourselves are giving ourselves this pressure. Because sometimes you look at the rat race, you look at their desires of so many people, you will see that even when the Lord is not mounting as much pressure, people are mounting so many pressure on themselves. In Africa these days, I don't see much of that, where we are in America. But in Africa, we see a whole lot of the much celebrated ministers, and even the ones that are not on the Hay list. Everyone wants to build the largest cathedral. Everyone wants to have the best sound. Everyone, and in these days now, people are using, some of the stadiums for their event. People are competing. Ministers are competing. So that's why I brought in that idea that is the pressure even coming from ourselves? I mean, the self or the people. You get what I'm saying, sir? So these things are there. Thank God you are here, sir.
Mhm.
I had to send an invite on TikTok so that you can we can both be here and every other person who wants to like be part of this conversation can now send in their we can invite them anyways. Oh, sorry. Oh, Pastor, are you still with me?
Yes.
Right. I know that there's a little glitch there. I don't know what's really happening. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I was saying that the competition is just too much, and the pressure is coming from several things. People too. I mentioned people. The rate at which people approach the pulpit, the altars, and the men God has placed on the altars is also something that I called for concern even these days. Um, Sometimes the idolizing of the men of God and the servants of God, um, and that's where it's coming from the people. The way people relate with men of God, the way people even talk about the men of God, the way people compare men of God, the way people the people thing is just there. You get what I'm saying? The people thing is just there. Then when we look at the culture today, is it also a factor that is causing some of this pressure that the ministers of God on the pulpit also face? And the number three is um, the minister himself. You understand? No one receives anything except it is given from above. When I say this to people who care to listen to me, I tell them I don't think I've wanted praying to be extremely rich, to be extremely powerful, to be extremely influential. I just want to be comfortable. I just want to be satisfied. And I want to, and when I say satisfaction, I'm not talking about the dissatisfaction that needs to be satisfied daily. I'm talking about the little that God has afforded me being able to have it. I share with people severally and I tell them, I say, um, if I am to retain everything that God has given unto me, then maybe I'm going to appear wealthier than this. But for the most part, I believe that whatever God has given unto us is by grace and by His mercy. So what I do is, as it comes in, by the grace of God, I'm like a channel through which God does some of these things. I'm like a channel. I'm not a tunnel because a tunnel, start things. When it flows in, it stays there, and that's why a tunnel stinks. But a channel, things flows through a channel. And when God knows that, oh, you're the kind of minister or you're the kind of person that when it gets to you, it gets to some other people, then I can assure you that there's a way God releases much of kingdom resources to you. So for me, I believe that the pressure is coming from people. The pressure is coming from the culture. The pressure is coming for us, from ourselves. You know, I've heard some comments from several ministers who talk about the latest sound, the latest this, the latest lights, the latest technology they want to, install in their worship places, and knowing fully that God does not dwell in the physical place. God dwells in our heart. These are conversations that when you begin to talk about things like this, maybe in gathering of, large gatherings of ministers, you will have more antagonists than protagonists. You have more people who are gonna like be, talking you down or shushing you down than people who are actually gonna be supporting what you're trying to say. Did you know statistics shows that a greater percentage of ministers of the gospel have high blood pressure and diabetes because the pressure is much. So I don't know the ratio anyways, but I know that this pressure is coming from the church culture, because there has been a serious shift in the church culture over decades. The number two, it's coming from the people. The number three, it's coming from the minister, because a lot of times the minister pressurizes themselves. I don't know if you want to just delve into that.
Yeah, see, there are, as you said, there are cultures in the church that that makes people to act in such a way. You know, we know things happen. Uh, the Bible says the blessing of the Lord makes rich and add no sorrow to it. Are you get what I'm saying?
Yes, yes,
Now,
sir.
when we are blessed by God, as I said earlier, ministry is not as blessed as this. If
Yes,
my question would have been, if God should call some of the people that are blessed this day, if God should call them back in those days, if
yes,
they
sir.
happen to be in the era of those days, would they still have answered the call?
Hmm.
I get what I'm saying now. Would they
Yes,
still
sir.
have answered the call, saying, "I I I heard God
Yes, sir.
because I believe God is speaking to me, and I know He's leading me this way, so I can preach the gospel, I can do the work of God." But I come to tell you, maybe many of them wouldn't have answered their call.
Mm-hmm.
But to the glory of God, right now, yeah, God is blessing, and things have changed. Um, you know, pastors can wear good suit now,
Of course.
not the one that will fold up at the back of at the back, and you don't even know that it's folding. You know, but now pastors use nice house, nice place. Can some of those pastors are children these days doesn't even know what ministry used to be back in
Yes.
those. You understand what
Yes,
I'm
sir.
saying now?
Yes,
Now,
sir.
so but must we now, as Paul said, can we say can we remain in sin and ask for the grace of God to abound?
Right.
Right? So
Right, sir.
now many people don't know that right now. So what I think we should do, there should be balance in what we do in the church,
Mm,
in the ministry God has called us into. You know, I know God has helped us. God has called us into His work, and now it has to be done in a way, that we glorify God as well. Now, remember, if God has given you opportunity to have all those lighting, stage lighting, and everything,
yeah,
God be the glory. But that is not the presence of God anyway. You
of
understand?
course,
That does not say that's the presence of God, but it's part of the blessing. I get what I'm saying now,
of
because
course.
if that's the blessing we know. That's the presence of God. What about the people that are in the bush? What about the people that are in the mission field? What are the people that are
Right,
in the place where there is no lighting, where there is no stage? So it is just the platform that you have. You
right,
understand? Which God
right,
has given to you. Many and not everybody is given that same platform. I get what I'm saying
right,
now. So if you
right,
are privileged to have one, yes, pray for God to for God's presence to be more in that place. Otherwise, the platform, I mean, that the lighting and the stage lighting and everything is just gonna come to what
mm,
um club or event, regular event, and everything. I get what I'm saying now
y-
because
yes,
they
sir.
are just it's part of what I call packaging. You know, it's part of packaging and
Is
everything.
packaging a should packaging be a thing in the kingdom?
No, oh, no, where whatever one is doing, You have to do it right.
Or should we just use the word branding?
I would say branding because I have light in I have light in our place, and as for me, for example, and I'll tell you one thing about me.
And please don't get me wrong, Pastor. I'm not saying that the light is sound. You and I, we are music people. We are
Yes,
sound people. We are light people. But the culture that we have today is the culture of people don't even worship God without the sounds, the light anymore. The
and
hearts are no more there. Even when the music is there, the latest technology is there for music, but
yeah,
unfortunately, the heart is no more there. So if we say branding, should branding overshadow our ambassadorial duties and responsibilities to God and our fellowship, the true worship to God? Don't forget that John chapter 4 talked about the fact that this worship thing we're talking about, there is going to be a time when there's not going to be any building any longer. There's not going to be all of those light sounds check, the smoke machines. There's not going to be any of that again. But those that will now worship Him will worship Him in
in
spirit
spirit.
and truth, and
Yeah,
knowing that the nature of God is actually is not human, is a spirit. So any worship that is out of that context is not just worship, even if they spend billions of dollars on the sounds on the venue or whatever thing that they have going on. And I am not castigating our churches. My church have the sounds, and by the grace of God, one of the best of sounds and lights and all of those things. But we also try to like guide against focusing on this branding thing,
yeah,
signature, which has become the in thing today.
yeah. See, the idea about that is this. You know, when we talk about branding and everything, you
Yeah.
know, you want to. I want to say what kind of microphone PA system was Jesus using when he preached to 5,000 people?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of uh, lighting and stage that he used when he spoke to people on by the lake?
Right.
Yeah, I think his own stage was the boat,
Right.
and there was no speakers. There was no, you know. Now, should we continue in that? No. You understand what I'm saying now? If God has
Right.
given you opportunity to because the more we do, the more we get. Now, what I see about either you have all this light, the stage and everything. The stage
Right.
without God's presence is just an ordinary stage. I get
Right.
what I'm saying. The because the church is not what, it's not building, it's us. I
Right.
learned so much during COVID. You understand? In spite
Right.
of all the stage and the building and everything that we had, God shut down everything and tell everybody go back home. Now,
Mm-hmm.
pastors were more, pastors need to, I would say, more frustrated at that time because we have to rediscover ourselves.
Right.
Many people cannot pray, I mean, cannot minister without seeing people. We are used
Yes.
to seeing crowd being, you will be motivated. But now you got to a place whereby you have to minister to empty space based on the size of the church. Look,
Mm.
I I have I have an habit. At that moment, I rather prefer to come to church to do my message, even if
Right.
than sitting down at home to do my message. I get what I'm saying now.
Yes,
I,
sir.
it's like I'm more the way my body just tells me. I'm in church environment, even though I can still be able to do everything anywhere, but I feel more comfortable, doing that much, even when there is nobody. The same thing
Right.
a lot of pastors that were, that had a lot of crowd, a lot of even people that don't have a lot of crowd. As long as you have members, you suddenly discover I cannot my first day or two of few time to do the service was a little bit challenge because number one, people, if you are not used to, if you don't have social media before, you have to get,
Right.
and if you don't have online giving before, you have to get one. If you don't, now how do I talk to people? I am used to people say in Jesus' name. People say respond, Amen. You will even say you are not saying Amen enough. Say Amen like thunder, and people say, hey, someone say, and people will say you will get that because you get motivated by they respond, the call
The
and response.
response you're getting from people. That's true.
So they motivate you. But now you are online, you are saying amen. Have you even seen them? Have you even seen their faces, right? Number one, before you even ask anybody say amen.
That's true.
And when you don't get anybody any response, you say, "Can you hear me? Can you hear me?"
Exactly. Exactly.
Uh, 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 and now you are you started getting stumbled on so many things because you are not in your it's like you are not in your comfort zone.
That's
I just
true.
so that is to tell
Yes,
you
sir.
that there are some times Bible says when Jesus saw multitude, he climbed
Right.
the mountain. That is something that the crowd does to Jesus himself to to project himself to reposition himself. I get what I'm
That's
saying.
true.
So when
That's
you
true.
see the issue of people now coming to church, it motivates you. Now, same thing with when you want to look at how you want your church to look like. Most really if you are into music or into that's why I said at first you are called into something. When God called,
Hmm.
He called you to pay a place, an assignment. As a
That's
pastor,
it.
you may not be a pastor that is called into doing all the light, but when you have somebody that joined the church and is into those kind of stage light and everything. I remember the first time we went to I came to America and the first church that I went to and that church was so little then. I realized that they don't have stage. They don't have an altar, even though the altar is just only a carpet placed on the floor. Are you get what I'm saying now? The
Right.
carpet on the floor. And one day, I just called pastor and I said, okay, I went to. I don't know about construction, but I built that stage in my head and
Right.
to replicate that. Since I got to America and they said you can build anything you want, you can construct anything you want. If you're an handy person, I don't need to go look for carpenter. I can I just need to get the dimension. I can go to store and buy all those things and put them together.
Right.
And the first stage that I built was when I got to America.
Wow.
I came to church one day and said, "Ah, brother Femi, what are you doing here?" I said, "I just want to build this stage." You understand? So
Yeah.
pastor might not that he is not into that, but maybe he's not focusing on so much on that. And somebody now
Right.
and say, "Oh, we need to have a stage on this place." You understand? That is
Right.
something. Now, pastors should not now see that as now we have stage now. This stage is our altar because the same altar is now. Everybody must not nobody must come here. And they start idolizing that, then that can take God out of that place.
That's
I,
true.
so, but the person that built the stage beautified the place. He says, okay, let's see how that thing is. That the stage is still a stage, but representing that God is still there. That does not mean that's our God.
That's true.
You get what I'm saying now? Now,
That's true.
with people that want to, that the stage light and all those things that we have, if you are not the kind of person that's into that, God can bring you people that are into it. And
Right.
part of those people. To those ones, that is part of their own ministry. Adding
That's it.
to your own ministry. No, it is not. It might not because in the house, in the big house, there are vessels. There are vessels.
Yes.
So that God
Yes.
will bring to complement your work. He called you as a shepherd, and there are other branches that will come out of your what of your
Yes.
mind that may strengthen yours. You understand? Oh,
Yes,
well, I'm
yes,
not
sir.
going to be shouting too much without let's provide him microphone. And if I'm into sound, I want to balance the sound. That is
That's true.
they what they also help your ministry. I get what I'm
That's
saying.
true.
If you are in,
That's true.
it brings more people to hear you, to make you comfortable, and that's just the only thing. But on the other hand, where the whole thing get wrong, it is when we focus on that more than God that we want to project. That becomes an issue.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Pastor. And um, there's this scenario which is not always a pulpit affair. It's a beyond pulpit affair, and that's a scenario that happens to almost all ministers when there are expectations to give answers, but the truth is you have no answers. Pastor, have you been in that situation before?
Like what?
Like there are expectations maybe from parishioners, maybe from members, from people that you mentor. There are
Mm-hmm.
expectations to get answers from you,
Answer
but they are
as regarding.
anything. They just things are happening, and they look up to you for an answer. Let me give you an example. Sometimes we don't have all the answers all the time, man of God.
Of course.
We don't always have all the answers,
No.
and yeah, and because of the church culture, the way people are being, they want answers from us. Have you ever been in that situation whereby you got no answer, even when you pretend, to have answers, even when you don't have any?
And
Now, these are realities. These
yeah.
are these are just realities of the ministry, and it happens to so many pastors. Even sometimes when they're on the spot, or sometimes they're not on the spot. I give you another example. There was a day a member of my church back when I was in Africa gave birth, and it was a good one. On there, after the naming of the child, or just around the naming of the child, the christening of the child, they went for circumcision. It was a male child. I don't know what happened. Maybe the nurse missed something, so the child started bleeding from the genitals. Ah man, it was a very terrible situation. So they called me, and I had to come. The child had bled so much that I prayed. I remember. I mean, the scene is actually playing back to me right now. That I knelt down, lay my hands on the baby. A 7 day old baby. I lay my hands on the baby, and the parents, the young couple, stood there helpless. They want answers at that point. Do I have answers? No, God does. But I still have to pray. I prayed. I prayed, and it was their first child. I prayed and I cried my eyes out. I was telling God, God, please, could you just do this for me? You remember the way it happened to David, after the death of Uriah, and the boy, the child that came from that union, that illicit union, passed on. That kind of feeling. I had that kind of feeling, and I was telling God, God, please, would you just help me, bring this boy back to life, this child back to life. But hey, the boy didn't come back to life. While we were even taking the baby to be buried, after several prayers, hours of prayers, sweating, something was telling me, yeah, there's going to be an answer. The baby was going to come back to life. But the baby didn't come back to life. I'm sharing my experience this time around, and I know several ministers too. There are times that issues happen between the husband and the wife. Very deep issues. That cause strain in the family, and they want answers from you. Things had happened. Oh, the government had come to pull down the church structure, and they want answers from you. The members are looking up to you. So it has happened to me severally, and these are some of the issues, struggles that ministers they go through, but people don't understand. When the rent is due, but there is no money, there is no funds to renew the rent, or to pay the mortgage of the church, people want answers from you. But as a pastor, sometimes I pretend I have answers. Would you share your side of that story?
Um, you see, I will tell you one thing. Don't let anybody put you on the pedestal that you don't belong to. Okay.
Right,
Uh I always shared something with people, and I said, I'm a parent, and if you tell your child, if you pretend as if you know everything, you're gonna mess up one day because you are giving them too much hope and too
right,
much expectation. I came from the generation whereby when they said they're okay, you can't ask your question, you can't ask your parent. Say
right.
when they said don't do something, don't ask why.
Of course.
They only tell you the what, just don't do it. I get what I'm saying now.
Right, right.
Just don't do it, and that's case closed.
Yeah,
No further question, no further anything other than that. If your parents are just like my parent, you will. The next thing is going to be a kind of either whip or punishment.
right,
Now, we don't have answers to everything.
right,
We are not Jehovah El Shaddai. We are not
right,
omnipotent, omniscient. We are not present everywhere.
right.
Bible says we know in part,
We're prophesying part.
we prophesy in part.
Yes, sir.
So when we say we don't listen, you should not see yourself as you know everything. So when you don't know, let them know that you don't know it.
So, is that not gonna sound? For me, I believe that's just gonna sound like, you know. I know people
Which
might want
one,
to say, "Oh,
which,
that's egoistic," but
which one
just
will you,
telling people that you don't know.
sir? Which one will you prefer? You said you don't know. They ask you a question. Was yours born from Nazareth? And you are, and you said, yeah, and you said, yeah, Jesus is from Jerusalem. I get what I'm saying now.
Right,
It's possible to go, yes, but when you find out, I rather tell you, I I have no idea, but I will find out, and I will come back to give you the right answer. But I don't want to give you a wrong answer. If I don't know
right.
something, I'll tell you I don't know something. Than to say something.
Mm,
Do you know that sometimes as you are preaching, they fact checking what you are talking about.
right,
It's the
right,
generation that we are right now is different from the generation of our parents.
right,
They back in those days they will tell you don't do this one, don't do this one, you must not wear this one, you must not wear that one. They support it with the Bible, support it with the Bible, even though it is not purely stated in the Bible like that. I get what I'm saying now. They
right,
put both doctrine together alongside with what the Bible says, because the Bible is different from doctrines. I get what I'm saying now.
mm.
So when you talk
Well,
about
there are biblical doctrines, though.
biblical doctrines, but there are some human-made doctrines that we
Yeah,
use
man-made doctrines. Yeah,
to support our what our organization. I get what I'm
yeah,
saying.
which helps. It helps administration management.
That's just what
They are
what is
not necessarily. Yeah, they're not necessarily biblical doctrines.
yes,
Biblical
but they're not
doctrines are different. Yeah,
even the one Moses said, the one God gave to Moses and the one Moses gave to the people. It was based on their behavior. Jesus said to them, it from the beginning it was not so, but because of your
the
obstinacy
hardness of your heart.
and
Yeah,
your heart, that was why Moses made all those commandments, and now God approved them.
right,
God approved them.
right,
So those are the things that I see in there. So when you don't know, say you don't know, then to make error that will now damage their life, and then to be very hard to correct.
right,
I get
right.
it,
So,
sometimes.
Where
we
do we draw the line? What do we draw the line in this whole thing?
sir, as long as you know yourself. Okay, let me give you an example. One there was a day. This is so funny. My father told me he went to church and a lady came and they prayed. They had a problem. They prayed, and after he prayed for them for their because there are two of them. Say after they finished praying, the lady said, "Sir, what do you see?" And my father says, "What do you mean? What do I see?" I get what I'm saying now.
Hmm.
What do
Yes,
you?
sir.
My father said, "Oh, my father remember maybe they are the kind of people that want after you've been prayed for, they expect that you will see something. You understand?"
Hmm.
So my father said, "Well,
Hmm.
I see that you are a woman, and I see that you are wearing clothes, and that's what I see."
Hmm.
So meanwhile, there are people that will put some pastors in a place whereby they will tell you, "Let me go to that man." After you have done it, God must have revealed something to you. Meanwhile, God did not reveal anything to you. Then, because they have put you in that kind of at that kind of level, then we have
Yeah,
to come up with something for them.
that's true.
So
That's true.
you have to come up with something when God has not given you something to do.
That's true.
You understand what I'm saying now? So
Yes,
when
sir.
God has not given you something, why did you put them there? Why did you ask
Hmm.
them to do what? To to join. Why do you prophesy what God has not said?
Hmm.
Are you got what I'm saying now? So
Yes, sir.
I see somebody okay, right? You
What did they
understand?
say?
Somebody came up right now. Okay. So
Oh,
so you will see. Okay, if you want to join, if you want to add to this conversation, just test us so that and your camera has
yeah.
to be
You
on.
can just send it on the comment if you want to come in. We can just bring you in quickly.
So but in the meantime, you will see that there are things that people are doing that is not godly, and
That's true.
because if you are not a prophet, don't call yourself a prophet. And I can tell you,
Hmm.
there are sometimes we prophesy when God has already moved.
That's true.
You understand what I'm saying now? So
Yes,
don't
sir.
don't retain what is not when God is not when God has not spoken. You're going to get yourself into trouble because remember we are directing life, we are managing
That's
lives,
true.
and you must not. If you tell your children right now, you understand, then I say
Yes,
okay,
sir.
I will do. They believe you,
Of course.
but
Of course.
if you don't fulfill that, they will lose. They might lose confidence in you.
That's true.
If that thing did not
That's
come, they might lose confidence in you. So
that's
that is
true.
most important that if you want them to gain your confidence, or you want to make them to trust whatever you say, please retain what you know. If you don't know it, don't be ashamed to say, "Oh, I don't know," but I will make more research on that, and I will give you feedback.
Yeah,
That
I think that solves it. And that's where to just draw the line instead of just giving out, just throwing words out there or doing things or manipulating people, because we live in a world right now where so many ministers are in the business of manipulation, and there are several ways and several shades that these things come. I think this week I started discussing mentorship, which is a major thing in ministry. It's something that, yeah, likely we talk about it on the pulpit, but beyond the pulpit, there are still some very gray areas in mentorship. And I did a part one and a part two of mentorship. But one area that I think I have not, I didn't really, which is going to be the part three. I did a part one, part two, which I dealt with the mentees. And the last part, I told people that I'm going to be talking about the mentors themselves, especially mentors when it comes to their duties, and mentors that turns to tormentors, So when we talk about mentorship in ministry, this is one area that I believe that I've really preached. I mean, had really created ministry gaps. Um, Maybe it's the case that the younger ones coming up don't want to submit themselves to be well mentored, or everyone is just looking for selected mentorship. Like I was discussing earlier in the week, that a whole lot of younger generations in ministry right now, they carefully, skillfully, and tactically choose people they really want to mentor them.
Mm.
You know, yeah, because mentorship is very biblical. Um, young people look for people of influence to mentor them in ministry, in business. You know, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong in getting people who have been successful in whatever thing you want to do to mentor you, but sometimes, especially in the ministry, what we see as success may not actually be success in ministry. You know, um, the ephemeral things, the empirical things, and the display of wealth that so many ministers are have delved into these days, make people to actually allude that to success. So in ministry, you see the wealthy pastors, in quotes, the wealthy in quote pastors. They have more sons of the prophet than the ones who look like they're still struggling in ministry, or they're just coming up in ministry, or they've been in ministry for so long, but there is very little or nothing to show physically, even though God has really helped them with wisdom, with buffer strength, in the spiritual realm. In really, there are people that heaven recognizes, spiritually, but physically they may not have the big cathedrals, they may not have the big lights and sounds and all of that. You rarely see young people, or you rarely see people come up to them to say, "I want you to mentor me." You understand? Now, what are we going to say about these things? What does the mentorship look like beyond the titles and the appearance and the physical things that we see? And this is one area I know that has really caused ministry gaps. Mentorship. People want you see some people that will say, "Oh, I don't want a small man to mentor me. I want a big man." So beyond the title, beyond those names, those titles, those prefixes, what does mentorship look like in ministry? Beyond the appearances, beyond the convoys, beyond the cars, the fleets of cars, beyond the cathedrals, beyond the big concert, beyond the three-piece suit, beyond the security man, what does mentorship really look like?
I will tell you my from my own opinion, and I can say this. Um, you see, mentorship to me does not only lies in it does not lie in only in the bigness or the size of of the church or the uh, or who you see. Sometimes we don't. I mean, as they said, you don't judge the book by the covers.
Yes,
I get what I'm saying now.
yes, sir.
If you if you want to grow in life, wisdom is all over the place. It's in
Mm,
the little one, in the middle age, in the older one. You will find wisdom in the young, in even in the child. You will find
right,
in your age mate and people that are older than you.
right,
Because in the journey of life, if you want to progress, you need the old, you need your age mate, and you also need the little
the
one.
young. Yeah,
So now, where do you find that mentorship? You know, number one, you need to look at who is doing what you want to do,
right,
who is into what you are planning to get into.
right,
Now, when you find them, who is actually actually connect with your idea, you understand that you feel
right,
comfortable. They are not the only one that is doing what you are doing. There are people that are
Right.
doing what you are doing, or that want that are already doing what you were out to do.
To
You
do.
understand?
Right.
But some
Right.
are arrogant in sharing knowledge, or some don't know how to even know how to share knowledge.
Right.
You get what I'm saying now? But
Right.
who is good enough to be able to pass, to hold your hands, you know,
Right.
to share knowledge? Number two, you must understand. I mean, when you find those one, go to them, talk to them, and let them be part of you. There are some
Right.
that you would that will be your mentor, even you are if that you don't even they don't even know that they're mentoring you.
Oh no, sir. Do you think it's possible for people to I, I think I differ a little there. The reason why I'm saying this is because there's a sharp contrast between a mentor and a role model.
Oh,
For
sorry.
me,
Yeah, yeah. I
for
got what you're saying. That
yes,
you can put speak up something. I mean, that could be a role model. It could be a
yeah,
role, but the mentor will have to actually show you. Elijah mentored
Elisha,
Moses, mentored
Caleb,
Joshua.
Joshua, and Joshua mentored Caleb.
Okay,
Mm,
you get what I'm saying now? And when you see all that, you will see that the apostles also mentored Philip and all those Stevens and every one of them.
all of
Jesus
them, yeah.
mentored what's his name? I mean all the apostles. Yeah, you get what I'm saying?
Right,
So
right.
mentorship has to be a connection between you and that fellow because you need to
That's
know
what I'm
the
talking about. Yeah,
person that
that's what
you
I'm talking about. There must be a physical connection. There must be
are.
an intentional relationship. Yeah,
Yes, because you're gonna get a little bit of me. I get what I'm saying. You're
right.
going to get a little bit of me. You're going to take part of me into you. You understand? You see, that is one of the thing about mentorship. Now, do we need mentorship? I can tell you, if you want to succeed in what you want, what you are doing, you need to be mentored by somebody.
Yes, I agree with you. I think I agree with you on that.
Some people will say, I don't submit to no,
I
I
was
don't have.
about going there. I was
I
about going there. How about people and pastors who are successful or who are seen as successful, but they will tell you, I don't have a mentor. I don't submit to nobody.
I
No one mentored me.
my prayer goes for them so well because sometimes you don't know what you are. If you don't, okay, tell me, if you don't have a mentor,
Mhm.
and do you expect to be, do you expect to have mentees?
A whole lot of them, unfortunately, a whole lot of them, they're just being cynical because you see them go about with flocks of folks around them, mentees, but they will tell you nobody mentors them. Do we call that pride?
Sir, it's only if they will lie or they will not be sincere or they don't want to submit, they don't want to agree. I get what I'm saying now. You must.
Yes, sir.
There's no ministry that God is giving to you that's a brand ministry. A way
Right,
that has been in existence.
right,
It might be unique for you, but it's not a new thing that just came to existence. No,
right.
I get what I'm saying now. It comes it comes as a result of what have been before your own time. Come on, somebody. You see, somebody has done that what you are talking about before you.
That's
So
it.
don't say, even if you say they are not your mentor, but they can be. You have seen them as your role model.
Right,
You pick from
right.
here and there, and you just don't. There is what tell me what song that you want to sing in this world that has not been sung by somebody else before. I get what I'm saying now.
So,
So what kind of
yes.
message you want to preach that has not been preached before?
Hmm.
There's always a place of fatherhood. Anyone that doesn't have a father must be even bastard is still a bastard still have father now.
Of course.
If whether or not their fathers are known, they still have fathers.
You may not know, but you still have a father somewhere. You are not just from the sky. You have a father somewhere. You may not know your father, but at the same time, you are.
Pastor, there is a pain of mentorship, and that area we've spotted on the pride aspect of mentorship. People not wanting to submit to mentorship, which is for me is a landmine. It's just a time bomb waiting to detonate, because as soon as things get south, then it detonates. So, but this other part is where I've discussed in the course of this week. The two-part series that I wrote about, and that is the part of people choosing a mentor for gains, for personal and unselfish gains, for what they tend to get so that they can fatten up, for things they just perceive people. If I connect to Pastor Femi will give me an invite to the US, for instance. For people in Africa, he will give me
Mhm.
access to his platform. People will begin to hear me. Some people connect to certain ministers for mentorship, so mainly because they need access, mainly because they need platforms, not because I know people who have submitted to some ministers they don't like, but they submit to those ministers because of platforms and access. I don't know if I'm making any sense here.
Yes.
I know people who don't like a particular minister, but they don't like the doctrine. They don't like what he teaches, what he preaches, but they are submitting to him because the minister has a bigger platform, because of what they could gain, because of connections, networks, recommendations, because of material, empirical, and physical gains. Sometimes because of financial and economic gains. How do we see this in the light of the dangers of mentorship that we've seen all around today in ministry, even in the social spheres?
Okay. I will not be able to go so much into detail. That will be in our next Beyond Pulpit.
Broadcast.
Yeah, but our
Yeah.
next podcast. Now, but for the sake of people that are watching right now, because we will soon be leaving.
Right.
I want to let you know that to serve under someone is not always what easy.
Right.
To be a student will not be easy.
Right.
Now, the question is, some people just submit to that authority, even though they don't have it, because that person has a big platform. Is that what you're asking?
Yes, people just want Daddy Gio, Bishop Oyedepo, TD Jakes, all those things to mentor them, just names, or people they think have influence. Meanwhile, I tell you, what people are looking for and the purpose of God for their life sometimes could be in their local church pastor, could be in their community. But because of what they are looking for, which are empirical and material things, very cosmetic and superficial things, they look up to those that they think already have influence, are influential because of what they want to gain.
And I'll tell you one thing. You see, every success has the history of the beginning, where they started from, how they started. There is always a roadmap to how they arrived at where they are at the moment. If you want to be like TDJs tomorrow and you are just like this right now, you will not get there, because nobody climbed the tree from the top. You start from the bottom. Nobody built house from the top. You start from the foundation. What is the foundation that you are laying right now? Where are you? Are you get what I'm saying now? Where are you as a person? In the journey of life, as in your place. Number one, you can get ideas from your local church. if you are if you are what, if you are patient and you have a teachable spirit, you know, some people want to be over there. You want to, I want to be known. Maybe if I get close to, if I'm on TDJ's platform, if I want the IDEO's platform, if I'm on that Bishop Oyedepo's platform, or all those big platform, and yet you don't, yeah, that will help you. See, it might not really help because you don't have a base. You do not have a base. You have to start from somewhere to get to the top. That will make much sense when you have a base, when you have a place that you belong to, and you can now network to those areas. Now, if you go to their meetings and everything, even if they lay hands on you and you still don't come back to your this to your basic place, and you will not still get anything because nobody climbed the tree from the top; it goes from the bottom. Okay, so you must have someone. You even your work start from your your local church. The one that you look down on might be the beginning of your what, of your training. So if you are being maltreated or you are being trained, stay there first. Learn what you need to learn. After you graduate from that place, God will move you to the next level. But you're not graduated and you just want to move to the next one. You just want to go to the next to the next to the next to the next phase. It's not going to happen. You understand? For those of you that are just quickly that are just joining right now, we will soon be rounding up. I have a few more minutes to go. You know, we're gonna come back and probably next week for our next one, and I believe you can actually join to participate more. You know, because we're wrapping up right now, and just only to summarize, and I can tell you there is always a place for you to rise. There is always a place for you to rise. And you must network yourself very well from the beginning so that when opportunity open for you at the top level, you'll be able to fit into it. Not just looking for opportunity or up there where your base is still not what? It's not, you have no base. It will not work. It will not work. And remember, you don't have to have a church before you have the voice. You get voice first. You have voice first. And you discovered where God wants to plant you first. What God might be planting you might not just be to be in the church. It might be out there. It might be on the field. We need people on the field. We need people in the marketplace. We need people out there. We need people where the voice that the church cannot reach. Go there and lend your voice. Your pulpit is already in you. Wherever you stage it is where you will minister. Wherever you place it is where the word will come out from. And there are people that God asked for you to share your word on that pulpit. And I can tell you, this is a place where you can share your voice. I hope to see you guys again next time. As we are wrapping up right now, I look forward to see you guys next time. This is Yomi and Femi Ojo, Voice Beyond Pulpit platform. Our platform is for us to be able to share together idea what we see out there. Don't be discouraged. Don't be discouraged about what is going on out there. What devil is talking about the church. That thing that devil wants to do is to take the church away from the pulpit. But you are there. It will not take you away. God will bless you in the mighty name of Jesus. This is what I call beyond pulpit, beyond the pulpit, beyond the pulpit. So you can actually get your voice, lend your voice out, let your voice out. Because it is just what? Beyond the pulpit. And God bless you. Next time, Come on time. Let's share ideas. And if you have any other thing that you any question, send to us. On any of our platforms, either on YouTube, on Facebook, on TikTok, Instagram. If you see it on any of those ones, send us and subscribe to all those channels and all those platforms that we have. And I look forward to see you at the next one. This is Beyond. That's where you need to be.
A question knocking at the door. No robe, no stage, no sacred script. Still, heaven spoke beyond the pulpit.
Yes, it's beyond pulpit.
Not just in echoes of a choir, not just in pages set on fire, but something louder, something
Come on, everybody.
In every room we try to
I love you
there are voices
and thank God for your life. For joining us.
in the noise, in the
This is beyond pulpit.
in the truth we can't avoid. Confined to holy buildings, not contained in just one way.